Welcome to the August 8th Commissioner meeting. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. We've approved the minutes from the July 25th meeting. I'll entertain a motion for that.
Motion to approve minutes from July the 25th is submitted.
Second.
All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Also approve the accounts payable vouchers. I'll entertain a motion for that.
Make a motion to approve the accounts payable vouchers.
So moved.
All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. And we've also approved the payroll docket.
Motion to approve payroll.
It just disconnected video.
Approved the payroll docket. No, okay. Patty.
My name is Patty Jackson. I'm with the Regional Planning Commission, and we are going to be conducting the second public hearing for the Jefferson County Owner-Occupied Rehab Program. So in December 2022, Jefferson County was awarded a $250,000 grant from the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs for a community development block grant program for an owner-occupied rehabilitation grant. These funds were used in conjunction with the grant received from USDA's Housing Preservation Grant Program for $175,200. The funds were used to assist 19 low to moderate income residents located within the limits of Jefferson County by providing minor rehab work to their home. 8 of the households were considered elderly, 4 were elderly and disabled, 4 households were considered disabled only, and then 2 households were single parent head of households. We assisted a total of 32 persons living in those households. 18 of the 19 applicants met a targeted special needs population, either elderly, disabled, single parent head of household, or veteran, or a combination of one of the, or all of those, which is great. Like usually your goal is like 50%, 95% of your applicants. We really are reaching the people that are most needy for this program. 15 out of the 19 applicants were considered very low income, which means they were less than 50% of the area median income. And then funds for the program were used to do new roofs, new water heaters, furnaces, air conditioners, new water heaters, I think I said that already, addressing electrical deficiencies and addressing accessibility issues, installing ramps and grab bars. So with that, that was just a quick summary of the program. I would like to open up for any comments or questions or concerns about the program. Anything? They
I'd
were
just
very
like to
smooth.
thank you for what you do, because I know from years past working with you, it's daunting sometimes, but it's rewarding when you see
Yes, it is.
how much it helps some people that really need it.
Thank you.
So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Seems like it's spread throughout the county too. I
Yes.
mean, how's this? That's good to see. Good.
Yes, and if you saw where there is, so this was a pilot program that we were able to participate in with OGRA. And they just released their new application for owner-occupied rehab. And I know Brian Amick had reached out to me expressing some interest for down the road, you guys doing this program again. And I would be glad to discuss that with you guys for future. I'm looking at putting in an application for the USDA funding for next year, because that's only once a year.
Right.
So Madison has already expressed interest in this program also, but based on conversations with OGRA, they'd like to see communities doing separate applications and maximizing the amount of funds they can bring into the region. So I would probably be looking at Madison and Jefferson County for an HPG application next round, but I'll be in touch and let you know.
And that's different from
From
not,
before.
right, because I
Yeah.
remember before you had just one that could.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that's a little unusual, so
Hmm.
anyway. So. Any other comments or anything? Okay, with that, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Next, we have some. We built the new jail, now we gotta take care of it. All right, so. Okay, So we have, yeah. So, these deal with the mechanical systems in the new facility. Some of it is, most of it is under warranty, but at the same time, if you don't do maintenance on it, you don't keep the warranty. So we want to make sure we keep the warranty, and trying to make sure we, do it right. So we not only keep the warranty, but see how to do the preventive maintenance the way it should be. And some of them also provide some of the consumables that are needed, filters for HVAC systems, and that's one that comes to mind, but some other things. So, I think we had thought maybe we could do this on our own, but looking at some of the things that are provided and, like I said, the consumables that come along with that, we thought for the first couple of years, we would do it with these companies, keep the warranties valid, and then learn specifically the things that are needed to keep these systems running for a good time. So let's start with the first one, which is for the so this is for the air handling systems, the HVAC, chillers, filters. The water heater is involved, boilers. And so this is with the HMC Service Company for an annual sum of $43,500 paid on a quarterly basis. And this the rate will be good for 2 years. The next one is for the generator. Anyone's driven by the new jail, hard to miss the generator. About the size of a tractor trailer sitting out there. But they will come and test it, and the big thing that they will do for us that's always a needed thing, but maybe sometimes difficult to do. They'll put it under load. So you'll start it and it'll run, which is a good thing, but then you'll make sure that it'll provide you electricity, which is the whole reason it's there. So that is for $10,443 with Nixon Power Services. Another one for the plumbing systems. This is the same HMC service company. And it is for the plumbing systems, like I said, mixing valves, grinder pumps, storage tanks, expansion tanks, things you may not normally have involved in a normal household, but things for our facility are needed. It is $11,722 per year. The next one is with Atom Chemical. They will deal with the boiler water and treatment of that, and that's been we found out the hard way in a boiler system.
The chiller.
Wasn't, oh yeah, chiller system, sorry, the chemicals
Downtown.
do.
Yes.
Yeah, and so we're using them at the courthouse, and they will also do their service at the new jail.
I didn't see it.
I don't see a price on here.
$125 a month.
Okay. $25 monthly.
Yeah. $600 a year. We are, that's to be,
Yeah.
to be
Yeah.
decided.
So we'll hold that one on. So we're looking at maybe some local options for the water softener system. And then the last one is for. This thing. This one looks like it's done the next one.
Yeah, that's
Doesn't
plumbing.
it? Yeah. We'll take this one because it's only 41,800 as opposed to 43,500.
But that says for plumbing, but this says. Okay, does that mention chiller on the first page?
Mm-hmm.
No. This one does, this one, that is a separate bid.
What one is that one for? I think that one was the.
No, if you look,
But that
I mean,
one's for plumbing.
right, if you look, this is chiller, the water heaters, pumps, air
Yeah, but
handler.
the first one we talked about is that.
Mhm. I think so. That was.
Yeah.
I like
Sure.
this one better.
Yeah.
Same company.
Yep.
Maybe we waited long enough that they gave us a break on it. Anyway. So still with HMC, we'll get this figured out, one of these two, but the price, the one we like better is only 41,800 as opposed to 43,500, but same company. So we'll get that worked out, figure out which one is, why that's different bid, but they're for the same equipment. So we'll get that price worked out. So entertain a motion to do the agreement with HMC Services for the HVAC and for the plumbing, since those were two we talked about. And then Adam Chemical and Nixon Power Services. Which one do them independently? We can just do them all at once.
I'll make the motion we accept these PM contract. I say we need to take good care of them.
Yeah, definitely the generator, because it's like it's a 75 or 7,800 gallon tank it's sitting on, so that can go south quick, so. I second that motion.
Any other discussion? Like I said, we'll get worked out why these two different, they are this. Same equipment, but a little different in price, so we'll make sure we get the right ones. That's the one, spring of 24, this winter of 23.
Yeah, I like that one better than first.
All right. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor to approve these contracts, signify by aye. Next, we have a interlocal agreement between Jefferson and Scott County to share some equipment. You want to provide a little? Or,
Sure.
I mean, just an overview, you don't
I
have to
wasn't prepared for it,
get,
but,
well,
I helped put it together, so I've got the information basically pretty well down pat for you. The, primary reason we kind of joined forces with Scott County and was looking to see if we could find some options to very specifically was on our chip seal operations. Most of the time Scott County doesn't have a chip seal equipment at this current time, so they recently outsourced some of theirs to have some chip seal projects done. They had a company come in out of Illinois, so you can imagine the mobilization alone added quite a bit to that cost. When we've been doing it for several years, so we're very capable of doing it in-house. Our projects have been turning out very well the last several years. Our equipment it's aged, to be very blunt about it. Our distributor is 1995, so we do a pretty good job of preserving our equipment and taking care of what we do get. Our chip spreader is a 2000 model, I believe, and it was an upgrade, about 5 years ago, I think, from our 1980 model. You know, so we're long overdue some of that. A lot of the efficiencies with just chip seal equipment is a lot of these chip spreaders now have variable width heads, so you can travel at 8 feet wide and still widen those out to where you can cover 24 feet in one pass. So you've got a lot greater efficiency. If the distributor would cover the 20-foot area, most of my roads are less than 20 feet. Most of Scott counties are less than 20 feet. If you can cover those in one pass, you're gonna have a lot greater efficiency with your emulsion, with your chip and that retention. You're gonna cover the roads and be in and out much quicker. Our chip seal equipment is kind of like a farmer's combine. It sits in the shed 90% of the time. Our chip seal equipment doesn't have a shed, so it doesn't even see the shed, so it sits outside, but we usually use it primarily 1 to 2 months out of the year. If we have enough funds, it might see 3 months out of the year. So if we had updated equipment for both of us to be able to utilize in that purchasing agreement, I do know that in that agreement itself, if one party decides, hey, this isn't working, we don't want to do this, there's a clause in there to be able to liquidate that, offering it first to the other party. There are some lease options out there that I've been studying on the equipment side. So if we wanted to just put our foot in the water, so to speak, we could agree to a 1-year lease. At the end of that 1 year, if one party or both parties say, hey, we're out, we could just pay that lease, let the equipment go back and wash our hands, dust ourselves off and figure out, hey, what's our next best solution? Hopefully it works extremely well. And then the chip seal operations would hopefully evolve into possibly partnering up on paving operations to lower both of our bottom lines so we can be better stewards for our taxpayers. That's the quick and dirty.
That's a good one. Should we, surely? 3 pages and a couple paragraphs, should we read it?
Probably to be transparent, I should imagine.
I'll go.
Yeah.
Interlocal agreement between Jefferson County, Indiana and Scott County, Indiana regarding funds for purchase of county highway equipment and maintenance. This interlocal agreement is entered between Jefferson County, Indiana and Scott County, Indiana, whereas Jefferson County and Scott County have authority to enter into agreements pursuant to Indiana Code 36-1-7-2 to exercise jointly any power they may undertake individually and to purchase, sell, and exchange services, supplies, and equipment. And whereas Jefferson County and Scott County acknowledge their mutual interest in improvement of and maintenance of county roadways within Jefferson County and Scott County, and recognize the need for financial cooperation to undertake such improvements using jointly purchased equipment. Whereas this interlocal agreement sets forth the terms and conditions under which the parties agrees to provide funds to be used for county road improvements and maintenance using equipment purchased for the benefit of both parties. Now therefore, in exchange for mutual consideration, the receipt and legal sufficiency of which the parties acknowledge, Jefferson County and Scott County agree as follows. 1, agreement duration. The agreement shall begin upon the execution of all parties to this agreement and shall last until December 31st, 2025. The parties may extend, modify, or renew this agreement by executing written extensions, modifications, or renewals signed by all parties. Agreement 2, agreement purchase. Agreement purpose. Let's begin. The purpose of this agreement is to facilitate the maintenance of county roadways within the jurisdictions of Jefferson County and Scott County. The parties agree to equally bear the cost for the initial purchase of certain chip and seal equipment to be used and maintained by the parties in manner described below. In furtherance of this agreement, the parties agreed to the following. The chips and seal equipment shall be used by both Jefferson County and Scott County between May 1 and October 30 of each year. This agreement is in effect. The scheduling of equipment use will be managed by the county highway superintendents for Jefferson County and Scott County. Each county will split the maintenance and insurance costs for the equipment. During the off-season, for road maintenance, the equipment shall be stored in the Jefferson County Fairgrounds buildings. Both counties agreed to provide labor and other equipment when practicable upon request of the other party to assist in maintenance and improvement of county roadways. Both counties will charge FEMA rates for labor and equipment owned by the other county when a request for assistance is made to the county highway superintendents. And each of the counties shall retain a 50% interest in the equipment purchased pursuant to this agreement, and each county shall retain an option of first rights of refusal to buy out the other party's interest in the event that this agreement is canceled or expires and is not extended. Number 3, the manner of purchasing. The county shall comply with the Indiana public purchasing laws in purchasing the equipment, including any applicable federal laws. Pursuant to Indiana Code 36-1-7-12B, the compliance by the one and the applicable statutes governing public bids with the compliance by the one with the applicable statutes governing public bids constitutes compliance by the other. Okay. Partial or complete termination. The parties agrees to easy for you to say, cooperate in the partial or complete termination of this agreement as required by Indiana Code 36-1-7-3 in the event partial or complete termination is necessary and to provide for their respective responsibilities in the event of the same. Delegation of duty. Number 5, the parties agree that due to the nature of the project that no delegation of authority is required pursuant to Indiana Code 36-1-7-4A3. 6, physical body approval. Pursuant to Indiana Code 36-1-7-4A2, this agreement is subject to the approval by Jefferson County's and Scott County's physical bodies. 7, filing. This agreement will be filed with the Scott County Recorder and the Jefferson County Recorder, and within 60 days after execution will be filed with the Indiana State Board of Accounts. 8, time of essence. Time is of the essence of this agreement. The party shall make every reasonable effort to expedite the subject matters hereof, subject to any time limitations described herein, and acknowledge the successful performance of this agreement requires their continued cooperation. 9, breach. Failure of any party of this agreement to perform its obligations under this agreement shall be deemed to be a breach of this agreement. The party claiming such failure shall notify in writing the party alleged to have failed to perform such obligation and shall demand performance. No breach of this agreement may be found to have occurred if performance has commenced to the reasonable satisfaction of the complaining party within 30 days of the receipt of such notice. If after such notice the breaching party fails to cure the breach, the non-breaching party may seek any remedy available at law or equity, subject however to the compulsory non-binding mediation provided below. 10, amendment. This agreement and any exhibits attached hereto may be amended only by mutual consent of the parties and by the execution of such amendment by the parties or their successors in interest. Sure.
Indemnification. Each party agrees to indemnify and hold harmless the other party from any claims, damages, or liabilities arising out of or related to the performance of this agreement. No other agreement. 12, except as otherwise expressly provided herein, this agreement supersedes all prior agreements, negotiations, and discussions relatively, you got me doing it now, to the subject matter hereof, and is a full integration of the agreement of the parties. 13, severability. If any provision, covenant, agreement, or portion of this agreement or its application to any person, entity, or property is held invalid, such invalidity shall not affect the application or validity of any other provisions, covenants, agreements, or portions of this agreement. And to that end, any provisions, covenants, agreements, or portion of this agreement are declared to be servable. 14, construction and interpretation of agreement, Indiana law. This agreement shall be constructed in accordance with the laws of the state of Indiana. The parties agree that they and their attorneys have each reviewed this agreement and that the normal rules of construction to the effect that any ambiguities are to be resolved against the drafting party or parties shall not be used in the interpretation of this agreement. 15, waiver ineffective. No waiver, modification, or amendment of any term, condition, or provision of this agreement shall be valid or have any force or effect unless made in writing and signed by the parties. 16, notices. All notices and requests required pursuant to this agreement shall be deemed sufficiently made if delivered as follows. To Jefferson County Board of Commissioners, 300 East Main Street, room 103, Madison, Indiana. To County, Scott County Board of Commissioners, 1 East McLean Avenue, room 130, Scottsburg, Indiana, or at such addresses as the parties may indicate in writing to the other, either by personal delivery, courier, or by registered mail. Return receipt requested with proof of delivery thereof. In the event notice delivered by registered mail is refused or otherwise undeliverable, said notice may be delivered by regular mail. Mailed notices shall be deemed effective on the third day after mailing. All other notices shall be effective when delivered. 17, counterparts. This agreement may be executed in several counterparts, each of which shall be an original, and all of which shall constitute one and the same agreement. Assignment. 18. The rights and obligations contained in this agreement may not be assigned without the express prior written consent of the parties. 19. No third-party beneficiaries. This agreement shall be deemed to be for the benefit solely of the parties hereto and shall not be deemed to be for the benefit of any third party. 20, effective date. Notwithstanding anything herein to the contrary, this agreement shall not be effective until all parties hereto have executed this agreement. 21, submission of disagreements to meditation. In the event the parties disagree as to any material matter, such as but not limited to whether a default has occurred, whether substantial completion has occurred, whether one party has a duty to act or a duty to refrain from acting, or whether an ambiguity exists as to the scope and terms of the parties' agreements, the dispute will be submitted to non-binding mediation under the Indiana rules of alternative dispute resolution. You got off the hook. Yeah.
No, I thought there was more.
You want to read the signature page?
Yeah. Sign.
So I know both attorneys, Bobby and other superintendents have looked at this and have it scoped out, worked out, and are in agreement. So I will make a motion to accept this interlocal.
Okay.
With Scott County.
My second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Thank you. Go. Got my first dress.
You wanna go up? You said you didn't have much. Go ahead.
Those aren't started on me, so I just figured they'd have me come back.
All right.
Hey, we've been extremely busy, as you guys have seen, punching in lots of culverts, getting a lot of those patched up. Moving some of the vegetation back, getting some ditches back in place. One of the things that we've been using quite a bit of, hold on, I want to give you these papers, not my cheat sheet. One of the things that we've been utilizing a lot, and I know Brian had mentioned it when he asked what we were doing on Deputy Pike when we were leveling up some of the lower places. When they start getting alligator cracks and things in the pavement, we can kind of patch those back in and seal those back up with our total patcher. One of those copies I've got there, which I love that title when he sent that to me, it said Total Tank, and I immediately thought of Chris Allen. I said, yeah, here we go, Total Tank. Right before he started gaining all kinds of weight, so I don't plan on growing a beard and hope that I'm not gonna not see Santa Claus fall off a roof, but that's a whole other story. Our tank is 22 years old. It has been overflowed once upon a time. That's why you can see the emulsion still on the side of it. You can see the picture of the breaker box that's kind of fell apart inside of there. And I was glad I didn't have any wasp nests when I opened that up to grab that picture about an hour ago. As long as it doesn't short out, it's not a safety issue.
It says who?
As long as it doesn't short out.
Oh,
When they were down, they do have one of those tanks in stock, so we could basically, the agreement that I've got with them so far is a handshake agreement until you guys approve it. I told them to hold on to that until we could give yay or nay. They'll come down, set up the tank and take our old one. They will give us $5,000 for the old one to take it back.
Have they seen the pictures?
Oh, they were down Salting.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. I did actually send them a picture of my presentation. A lot of the upgrades and the amenities to the tank is they're a lot better insulated now.
Tank amenities.
Okay, tank amenities, there you go. I'll go into septic business now.
Okay,
I've been told I can stir a lot of it, but anyway. There is an arm on there that holds and supports the fill hose that goes over top of the total patcher itself. In one of those pictures, you can kind of see the hose that's standing there on the old tank. And the valve itself is actually right at the same level as the total patcher, so there's emulsion that's left in the tank that you kind of have to play with the hose a little bit to get it to drain out. And we have had a couple instances that we have had to folks with the emulsion on them, and at 150 degrees, it does leave a mark. Makes for a long day when you get that stuff on you, because the more you try to rub it off, the more it burns. So for the safety features alone, I would definitely strongly encourage that we try to do this upgrade. You can see there's a picture also of the new updated breaker box that's in there. It's all enclosed. Some even dial and thermostat is on the outside of that tank. One of their vendors that they reached out to said that it cost them right at $100 to heat that through the winter. As a rule, we've usually got ours shut off in the winter because we try to pump it empty by November and then refill it in March. The insulation jackets and blankets on the new one go all the way to the bottom. My existing one, it goes down to where the heat fans are that keep the emulsion warm, and then there's nothing there. On the very top, one of the other safety issues that they mentioned when I talked to him on the phone, you saw the one picture of the lid that's open, and there's nothing there to, if somebody slipped, they could fall in it. It would take a little skinny dude to do that. But the new ones have some bars there that would keep that from happening. And those are removable, so you could get in the tank to work on it if need be. So the total price for the total tank is $83,000. I'm gonna leave the change off, $732. The optional boom loading arm is included, and they will give us $5,000 for that tank. They will provide all the labor and everything going on. So with there is some freight that's involved. That total figure would be $80,232. The other thing that they have also included, because when I started asking this price, I was looking for 2025 to have information to bring to our budget hearing next week to be planned to hit. Since they had one in stock, they also have a 0% lease agreement that I can give them some money this year or no money this year and pay the rest next year. So that part I can handle. If you guys will allow me to negotiate that with them, I will gladly take care of that. As you guys know, I've looked at quite a bit of equipment as well. Some of them I've already ruled out. This is gonna be one of the better investments that we can make because we use that total patcher so much.
Some of it.
Any thoughts, comments, questions?
How much do you use in a year?
We usually start with that thing in April or May, depending on the weather. Here the last month, that thing has probably run 15 of the 20 to 25 working days each month. So we use it.
Not hard to get refilled or.
No, I make a phone call, they bring us.
Okay. Yeah, so no need to hold more.
Another great point on that I left out was that gauge. The one that's on the outside of our existing one is a cable. It was still showing 4,000 gallon when I was here because it doesn't move.
Stop.
When I was up there at the top and I adjusted that, I dropped to 2,000 gallon. But the gauge that's on the new one is fully enclosed and there's no cables and things on it. It's a much better system, much more accurate as well. We just make a phone call because the emulsion that we use is something that's included in our annual bids. So it's AE90, and it does very well for the winter. One of the cost benefits of that, our cold mix is currently costing us $90 a ton. The stone for that, right now I'm getting bought for $15 a ton. The emulsion that goes in the tank is, I want to say $2.92 a gallon. Don't hold me to that, but it's very well documented. I can look it up.
No, it's fine. You switch units on us there, so you lost me. Gallon. All right.
But yeah, we use a lot. We probably go through 3 tankers of oil a year.
No, I mean, it's easy to get. There's no need to have more storage, or I just didn't know we're getting the same thing, but is there a better option? But it sounds like this is just a good option and sticking with it's fine.
Safer.
Their service has been impeccable. And that's another thing.
Yeah,
that goes
that's
a long
another
way.
thing. You get too much, you do get in, probably get in some other areas that are more of a safety
Probably more
concern.
like a Vega transmitter on it instead of a cable. Safer.
I like safety, cause that would be like getting hot plastic on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I'll rub it off for you.
No. Make a motion, we look
Okay.
into the
Total tank.
total tank as a lease or whatever.
Yeah, they purchase.
Yeah.
Oh, as far as the purchasing
Right,
options, yes. Oh,
I second that motion.
Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye.
thank you, gentlemen. And that is all I have for the evening. Unless you guys have any questions for me. Next.
So, big thing this week anyway is, we have a propane tank that's in the backyard that's sinking and starting to tilt. And so Premier One now wants me to get it unhooked and get it drained at least, the very minimum. But they also come up with another solution of getting rid of that tank altogether and piping everything to the tank that's on the side. We just combine it all into one tank. And I think that would be a great option. I emailed.
Yeah, how big is this, the second, this,
They're the same size.
Same size.
I think they're
But I
1,000
feel,
gallons. Yeah, 'cause
you know,
this
I
long just
barely
table.
seldom put any fuel in
Okay.
that back tank.
but it's the one that's, yeah. all right.
Yeah, there's one side that, the blocks have completely sunk under the ground, and so and they can't get a boom or can't get any equipment back there to pick it up, to set it right, and then he come out today and tested the ground, and it's all sinking where that is set up at. So I guess I just need to see if you all are okay with me giving Premier One that tank. He's going to do all the work of hooking me up for free.
So the second one,
Yeah.
think I'll give you $5,000 for it?
Oh,
Oh,
well, but he
maybe
said
get
that.
Bobby to negotiate, maybe, no, I'm just kidding.
But I just, you know,
He's doing all the labor.
yes, he's gonna do all
Twice.
all the labor. He said the only thing that I might have to pay for is if he has to get another guy out to like operate once he drags the tank over to the fence to where he can put it on his boom and get on his truck. He might need assistance there, and I might have a little bit of a labor cost there.
So he's kind of taking the tank for all the labor.
Yeah. It's not, and we figured, we were sitting there figuring out the numbers, it was gonna be like a little, like 4,500 for the materials, the labor.
We
and
are getting about
everything.
5,000 for it, all right.
So
That's the-
it kind of,
So we don't have to get rid of it.
Right.
yeah. we have
Or
to-
drain it.
Or let it just sit back there and roll on over into the woods. But either way it goes, I have to disconnect it, I have
Sure,
to get it
sure.
disconnected, so I won't get to use it anyway.
Right, he's gonna take care of that too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Cause I know Camden just, well, it's been a year or so ago, he redid the incinerator, remember?
Yeah,
It was
yes.
situated, so there's a
Yeah, it was
valve on
thinking,
it,
yeah.
so we could segregate it there.
And he
And
wants to do
a
it.
valve on the other one in case something happens, so.
That'd be good.
Yeah, and he said down the road, if I wanted to buy a meter, if we needed to know how much fuel was actually going to the incinerator, we have to buy a meter and install it real easy on there to know, but we haven't ever had to keep track of it before. Like how much is going,
Will they fill it up once a year?
on that back tank, it was like, in the last couple of years, it's been once a year.
Mhm.
Before it was a couple times.
Go for it.
Yep.
Should we?
The ready grant.
Huh? The ready
The
grant?
ready
Well,
grant. That's so sad,
Mhm.
but guess.
well, I
they
mean, like,
Still like, got some oomph to move forward with that, or is it like?
no, I think we still go and we'll get a design finished.
Okay,
And, because I think oftentimes some of those donors wanna see that you got an idea of what you're gonna do, just like
Right.
anything else, so.
yeah, and that's. the big thing.
So we'll keep moving that forward. and you've got one proposal that we'll put
So you
together.
wanna make it official and start. like,
Well, I think Brian's already working on putting together a request for proposal
Oh.
from, so we'll. He's not here.
He's not here. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about it and either way, we were gonna need, whether we got money from through Ready or not, we needed to do that. If we use some of their funds to do it, or if we use maybe some ARP funds or some other things like that. To get to a point where I mean, it's gonna be obviously more work to find
Right.
funds to take the next step. But I think once you have who you're gonna work with and things like that, as you get the proposals ready, then I think that makes it easier, because you got something to show people.
Right,
This is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, the design instead of just, we want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we want a new animal shelter. Well, what's
Right.
that?
What's that? Yeah,
Here's-
yeah,
here's what
I
we
trust,
want.
went through that the last.
Yeah.
year.
So. Yeah, so we won't stop. We're gonna keep
I
going.
just was-
And I know, and I think Brian has said you've given them a lot of, these are things that I would like in it, so we would include those, maybe not in the proposal, but once we get someone to do the design, we would.
So I know now that since this is slowed that potential for a new shelter down,
Well,
there's.
yeah.
In the
Go
dog
ahead.
kennel area though, we have some mold starting to grow in the ceiling, so I'm going to have to deal with that before much longer, or it's going to start causing dogs to get sick.
Okay.
We've been
Should you have
bleaching this
tested?
season.
Should you have it tested? Be safe.
Yeah, probably.
Well, I've had somebody look at it, they said that, as long as I keep bleaching it and watching the growth, but it's.
I mean, is it,
Once mold starts, it's hard
Sure.
to get it to go away. And I'm fearing,
So
because
the-
we're bleaching the ceiling to kill the mold, that's gonna make the
Sure.
ceiling come on down.
so it's in the drop ceiling then?
Mhm.
Can we just get rid of the panels to,
Oh, no, it's,
It's
okay,
metal.
yeah,
it's metal.
no, it's, like drywall up there. Cause it's got the tape is falling down all throughout the shelter, and I think it's like drywall ceiling, or I don't know what, I don't know the technical term of what's up there, but it
The
looks like
ceiling, the
drywall.
ceiling is
Yeah.
not drop ceiling, it's not,
Yeah, it's not like this.
sure,
No.
that's a drop
It's,
ceiling, okay.
it looks like drywall up there, and then you can tell the tape where they seamed it together, because the tape's peeling now. But I know that's gonna be a sooner issue. I was gonna hold off on it if we were going new shelter and then,
That's it, yeah. No,
I'm just
kidding.
giving you a heads.
No,
up.
I'm just, you're fine, don't.
But then another thing, I've been talking to some other shelters, and we're all like hurting for adoptions and funds and stuff like that. Most of our surrounding shelters have now went into agreement about upping their adoption fees by $25 for kittens and puppies, because they are highly sought after to help cover the other expenses that we're losing. And so I've been kind of contemplating raising for kittens from 0 to 5 months of age, because there is more that goes into a kitten and a puppy, because you have to give 4 rounds of vaccinations instead of 2. You have to do more deworming and stuff like that to just help offset those costs of those young ones, and they're more adoptable. And so I was wanting to see if we could take the kittens and puppy prices up $25, so it'd be $125 to adopt a kitten and then $225 to adopt a puppy. Just to help oversee some costs, or do I need to take that to city council or county council? I mean,
So it's $100 for a kitten now.
well, it costs the shelter almost $178 per cat. So
We're not even.
We just lost video.
Jennings County, you said.
Jennings County now went to their adoption fees are based on the weight of the animal. So if it's between 0 and 30 pounds, it's $100. If it's 30 to 60, then it's different
Is
because,
it more for the heavier the?
well,
That'd be the opposite of what we
to
want.
spay and neuter, it is
Sure, it
based
is,
off
it is.
weight. And so that's why they went to that with their pricing, was because they're having trouble covering their cost of getting everybody spayed and neutered. No, we're still doing all right, but it would be nice to have that extra
We're
little
no
bit.
place close to breaking even on a kitten or a puppy. The one.
No, it cost, for a female dog, it cost us almost $325 to get everything done, you know, the vaccinations, the spay done, rabies, deworming and microchipping and all that. It's about $320, I think is what I calculated up. And we get $200 adoption fee, so we're losing $120 every time we adopt a female.
Hmm.
But I would never adopt a single dog if I went to $320 on their adoption fees, you know. Male dogs are a little bit cheaper. It cost me $150 to neuter the male dog, and then you add all the little things. I think it comes up to like $225, something like that on a male dog. It's a little cheaper. So we were kind of, I just trying to catch up on the numbers a little bit more. And I thought since the kittens and the puppies, it's Aurora, for sales, like their shelters around there, they went where the puppies and the dogs, actually, they went up $50 more for their puppies and kittens from their normal adoption fee of the things of the dogs and cats. And they said that they're actually getting more adults out the door because of it, because people come in and go, well, I don't want to pay extra for that kitten. So they're taking the adults that usually gets left behind and shelter.
Try it, see how it goes.
Do y'all have any hesitations about me trying it? Or-
Yeah, and probably just, almost like a little table of what you are charging, what you want to charge, and then just why, and then, but yeah, I think you gotta try something.
Yeah. It was city funding paid.
I heard.
Yeah, I'd try it and see how it goes.
I mean, if
Try
it,
it a month or so and see
Yeah,
if
and if
your
you don't
numbers
see
go
any-
up, you're okay, and if not, well, don't have to regroup.
Yes, and I've been informed with some of the vets that prices is probably gonna go up again next year. So it's like, you know, you just never know. Well, that's because their products are going, you know,
Sure.
what they're using to do these is going up, and they're just trying to keep themselves afloat too. I get it.
Yeah.
So on the propane tank thing, I'm good to like proceed on with that.
Yep.
And then, we'll do a test run with the adoption fees and see how that plays out. And I'll keep getting with Brian on ideas for a new shelter. And
well, like I said, I mean, I think the first step will be getting someone, I mean, I know we've got one proposal, but to get those proposals, and then when we pick someone, make sure we got those things ready to go, so we can.
should I take the funding that's in the building fund for the shelter? I mean, is that gonna go towards the drawings or the?
Hmm.
Okay.
That's not the plan, so we'll keep those for building.
And I'll keep a watch on my ceiling.
Okay,
Well, I mean, is there what do you
I mean, well, it was,
get it replaced? I mean,
yeah.
well, then
I
let's
just-
see what, see what that's gonna be. I don't know who, I mean, bumper or just
I can get quotes from a
Yeah,
couple, three
just to
guys
see what it-
local,
what.
put metal on it and be
Right.
done with it.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's what I would, you
Yeah.
know, something that can withstand the steam, you know, because we never spray up until
Yeah, but
this.
you have a lot of moisture every
Yes,
day spraying those
and,
kennels out.
Condensation goes up and
Yep,
it's bad. But just where they're healthy, I need to,
Sure, so let's
Alright.
get some quotes and see
I'll
what.
give it to you on.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
I think it's you.
Right, I don't have too much for you. We get two more people to interview, and they went okay so far. I'm waiting on an insurance quote for a potential boat project for us. With the recent visit of the two big cruise ships that pulled in a few weeks back, all a bit. I think it's a little bit of a stretch at this point that we would rely on Milton Fire Rescue population 600 to take care of business for us when something happens in the water. And I've tried to calculate how many miles of river water that we have and we're responsible for from from our county line to county line. And I've not found that number anywhere, so. So sorry about that. I have a package together. I'm hoping, before early next week, I'll have insurance quotes back. I've talked to a couple of departments that have a similar watercraft to this and what their budgets happen to be. And with their experience with particular watercraft that we've been looking at. And I'll put a package together for you guys and either mail it to you if I can get it soon enough, quick enough and or print it out and drop some to you. That way you know what's going on. Hoping to have a discussion with the council about that, early next week too, during budget talks. But I'd like for you guys to take a look at that before I do that also.
It'd be good to have not that I need more meetings, but a meeting to look at that, sit down with the city and then just kind of.
Yeah, that's the next course of action too,
Okay.
is how we're gonna marry that thing up, and we've got a few places to be able to store the thing and all that bit, but I think those questions probably need to be answered before we really start to do too much anything. Talk to the sheriff, because I know that there's a little bit of a, there's a city county SWAT team maybe all that business, and so I don't know what kind of agreement may or may not be on paper for that, but just in the way my mind thinks about stuff is that seems like a special operations kind of thing, so that could fall underneath of that group, and there's potential for that team to use it for sure. And law enforcement and fire department, stuff like that, and just make it a special operations team, if there's some paperwork that exists on that stuff. I don't know whether there is, but there's not, so I'm not sure. I've asked around a little bit, and I'm not even sure that the SWAT team's really doing a lot at the moment, at least from what I understand. So maybe we'll have to set this up and do something and then go from there, because I think that we're on the clock really, where this boat group is coming through and all that bit, and I think both of them hold up to what, 300, not quite 400 people. And so I just,
A bunch.
those are the things keeping me
Yeah,
up at
one's a
night, you know,
monster.
yeah, when those things happen, when something happens, I don't know what we're gonna do. It's gonna be a difficult conversation to have if we can't help intervene. And so I think the city's on board, spend about 100, and I think it's probably gonna take close to 200 for us to finish that thing off. And that's just to get some usable watercraft that's decent size, and it's got enough power to do what we need to do. So I think most of us that have talked about this thing for a little while now, we kind of agree that this is really probably the best course of action. I'm afraid to get something that's old and used in a lot of business, and not even in the long run, but really the short run, that we're gonna spend the same amount of money on the thing anyway. So I'd rather be, if we've got some money that we can really throw toward a project we probably should have had a long time ago, then in my mind, I think this is probably the best time to do something like this, and that way we are. And we're not gonna have to worry about something starting and not being adequate enough to take care of a problem and all of that. And so that way we're not just on, half-heartedly going into it, we're taking care of business first, so I'm off that. So, I can't think of anything else, a little bit of building stuff that's going on, but we had some raccoons in the ceiling and called a group in. I'm not heard back.
Again?
We do, we don't. I didn't know it was again. I decided this is the first time I've known, so.
No, we had them once
Yeah.
before.
So. I've not heard back from you.
That's not hiding food up in the attic, come on now.
I know the guy.
Bring some of the dogs over, chase these things out.
There we go,
Yes.
join up, join up.
Still looking at getting together a price list on the computers for the EOC. Trying to get what else. Bumper's not been able to start the installation project just because of just the timelines. We got the okay from the IEODC, whatever the acronym is for the Energy Department of Indiana. So we got to go ahead and get the installation project started out there in Hanover, and building with Bob, and we just need to work out the schedule to get that squared away and get it done. So looking forward to getting that project done and happy for that. I've emailed you about the brick technical stuff from technical assistance from FEMA. That's a big deal. We're one of 167 projects across the entire country that's been accepted into that program. So I'm feeling pretty good about that and pretty happy. That's not a dollar value. That's a lot of technical looking over our stuff and giving some suggestions and all that bit. The reason that's going to be important for us in the future is that scores us about 30% higher on any grants that we put in for in the future, so.
Get
Hopefully
another connection.
that gives us a little bit of a head start on, you know, above the rest of the crowd. 30% head start on somebody, I'm all about that. And, so I've talked to our congressman and our senator, and, so they're on board. They're in that email group. They want to know what's going on with the project, so they seem to be very involved. So I'm glad we brought them in early, and, so it seems like we've got some really good support on that end of things. And, it'd be nice to be able to kind of stick a fork in that project down there and take care of that flooding issue downtown, because it's just every time it rains, it's just a matter of time before we gotta go down and start opening about houses. And I'm hoping that this storm season happens to come to an end sometime pretty soon. So we can do some other things, but I'll also say that again, I believe we've been blessed through this whole storm season. It's not been worse. And yeah, somehow, some way. And ironically enough, I talked to a guy from up north at the Healthcare Coalition conference 2 hours before our tornado hit. And I was explaining to him how somehow, some way tornadoes go, or bad weather goes north and a little south of us. And so next Wednesday, 3 of us have been invited to a panel discussion at a conference in Indianapolis at the State House to talk about tornadoes. And I'm going to have to apologize and eat some crow on that one, because I was just telling this guy how it always goes north and always goes south. I've never seen stuff come down the valley. And 2 hours later, I was heading to the tornado coming literally right down through the valley. So, yeah, so I'm hoping we'll get this interview wrapped up before this week, and try to get somebody in here as fast as we can get them in here. And we sent Jessica off pretty well. She's Heather's center. I looked for like some different colored jelly beans that were all black licorice flavored to send them down for them for stealing Jessica from us, but I couldn't find them, so I figured I'd tell them myself now. And just so you know, be careful with some of you jelly beans.
Yeah. Yeah, don't accept any gifts from unknown people.
Yeah.
So I can't think of anything else. If so, I'm gonna try to keep you guys pretty apprised in emails and stuff like that too. But if you have any questions, and it's very call me and need some sort of swing out and all of it. So, all right, thanks.
Thank you.
So, back there like he was last time. Last time Brandon was hiding in the corner and I didn't see him, and I was like, all right, we're done. He poked his head. Either you gentlemen have anything?
No, not,
Maybe a little, oh, about Tuesday.
no, yeah, go ahead.
You can. That's your bailiwick.
Yeah, we had another meeting with the juvenile facilities president of Indiana, Josh Nichols. And went through the jail, the new part of the old jail again. I was trying to finalize some thoughts and kind of start summarizing this thing into a jelly bean. Yeah, it was good. It was a good meeting. And then we will set up another one. He wants to set up one with, what do you say, he'd like to have the health department, a nurse, Rachel, Lauren, Jasmine, himself, and a couple of the judges. And us at the next one, kind of like put some numbers.
Okay. Sounds good.
I was pleasantly surprised. He said, we got good bones, said, wouldn't take a whole lot to get it going, and yeah.
Sounds
I was,
good.
yeah, kind of enthused about it.
Yeah,
Didn't find very few faults, did
no, not really.
So I think we can make it work.
Yeah, it'd be good for us and good for the communities around us, and
You can get somebody in the building so it doesn't sit there and.
well, that's the other thing too, yeah.
I don't think it was roughly, wasn't talking like a whole.
Not a whole lot
money.
we have to do.
Mhm.
Of course, some paint, clean up the stainless and stuff, and we changed the bunks. You can only have one person in a
But
confinement, but that's
Yeah.
piece of cake, so. Control room, he said was fine, just needed to add what, maybe 3, 4 cameras,
Yeah.
and, yeah.
and I mentioned operators or operations companies, maybe that's a better way to put it. Did he have any ideas
Well,
on?
he was actually
He is?
The one in Evansville.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, so that was.
Cause I asked him, I said, so that juveniles arrested and say they came in the back alley. Once our officer hands it off, we're done
Mhm.
till he's released or, yeah, so. They take care of it there also.
That's why I want a couple of judges to be at the next meeting.
You have anything?
No,
So, we did get, even though we didn't get all good news from Ready 2.0, we did get some good news in that the campground project is gonna at least go into the next phase where they'll evaluate it a little bit more. I was, kind of encouraged to start a process to look for a potential operator. So, we'll start putting together probably a request for qualifications just to see those people out there and start that process to see who might be interested in. And it's not gonna, Wood County is not gonna become a campground operator.
Yeah.
We'll take some of the funds from it, but we won't, we won't operate it. So that was good news. That was the only one of the three that we had submitted that moved forward. So we'll try working on the animal shelter and.
Shelter campground. Every
Well-
camper gets to spend the night with an animal.
I'm open to that, and I'm sure there might be some others. I tell you, we pretty much always, when we went camping, took the dog, but here in the last couple of years, we started taking the cat. Cat doesn't like to ride to the campground, but once it gets in the camper, she's okay. She likes the wide open view, yeah. The trip to the Grand Canyon, she
Oh
would
my
meow for
God.
the first 4 hours every day, and you're like, all right, we just gotta stop. Anyway, so the good news there, I know I keep talking about the storm water management ordinance, it's, been slowed down a little bit, but I think we'll get that wrapped up here by the end of September, and so ready to a point where we'll have to have some hearings for it, but get that worked out. I think we've had some things that have occurred in the county that have probably will help make it, it probably includes some things that we might not think about, so that's a good thing, but, yeah. So that's still going. Anybody in the public? All right,
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I will second that motion.
all those in favor, signify by aye. Aye. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.